of the date of birth, anniversary of birth of Billie Holiday. That was, in fact, yesterday. 1915 she was born. We've got the first song there, Lady Sings the Blues. Well, as I mentioned already, we've got a guest today, which is Simeon Chien, the local artist and guitarist, and well, keen to talk about his new album also. And well, the first question is obviously talking about any things you've done since you were in the studio here. Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah. And so, anything happened the last time?
The last time that I had my previous gigs in last year, I was planning on recording a new album, doing the usual independence where I usually record everything by myself, including the vocals and the instrumentation and the production, of course. So over Christmas I was working away on some new songs, and then afterwards, when we got into 2026, I started recording a lot of the songs. It's an 11-track album, so I just wanted to keep it as short as I possibly could for the duration of the album, and so I did my usual, so recording it all by myself, and then producing it, and then putting it out on social media through YouTube and Facebook and Bandcamp and all that.
Yeah, great. And well, have you had any concerns over the past year?
So over the last year, the last sort of concerts I've had would have been when I was with the Noisy Boys. We had our last gigs just before Christmas time. The first one was at end of November, where we were playing at Grout shows for a concert there, and then afterwards we started doing Christmas shows. So on the 1st of December we went over to Edinburgh as a band, and then played a gig there, and that went really well. And then afterwards I started going completely solo over at one of the community centres in Dundee. And so I still played my own songs, but I also added in a few Christmas songs, because obviously I knew it was Christmas then. And then I was supposed to play a Christmas gig with the full band over at Kirkcaldy, but unfortunately that got cancelled due to technical issues. So, but I've not had any gigs since then.
Right. And have you met any interesting people around on concerts and said, "Oh, I was just a crowd, and you came out and that was it"?
Often it's a crowd of people that always perform in front of. It's not. There's some venues that are not always the busiest, but still there's always a lot of good new people that I always meet every time I do all my concerts, and it's so nice to be able to engage, with a variety of new faces, and it really builds up my confidence when I'm meeting new people.
So do you prefer to be on your own or within the band?
I normally do both, so it really depends what type of venue I'm playing in. So if, for example, I was playing in a big venue, by which it's got good acoustics for a full band, then yes, I would go for a full band for that one. Pubs are kind of the same as well, depending on their layout of stages, but as a solo performer, it's very common that I would often contact pubs, and if they've got any like for example festivals that they have annually, then I'll get in touch with them directly and say, look, I would like to perform for this,
yeah,
and then I'll take it from there.
Yeah. Well, great. And maybe you could talk now about the album that came out.
Yes. So this album that I wrote, this is my 15th solo album, because I've been writing songs now for 14 years, since 2012. So this album that I wrote gave me an inspiration on the jazz music scene, because I always think of how throughout my career that I've been into jazz for quite a while, throughout a lot of different reasons, like often for a career, often by which I've been at university studying music, and by going on the summer jazz course that runs annually, and and also from going to jazz jams and jamming with other people. This has really built me up on my inspiration into, especially into writing jazz music, and I've got all the instruments that I have suitable for them.
Yeah, great. And what's the name of the album?
The album is called All for Jazz Music.
Right. And what about the first song that we've got? I think Summer of Brazil.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about Summer of Brazil. So the inspiration that I had for that one was because I was looking into a lot of Brazilian style of jazz playing, and learning that on the double bass, I picked up an inspiration to be able to write a song focusing on the culture of Brazil and what's around and all that. So this for this, there's a couple of different instruments that I play on it, and particularly the bass is the most in particular thing, by which on this one I'm playing the double bass.
Oh, right, great. Well, let's listen to it. Summer of Brazil by Simeon Chien. Summer of Brazil by Simeon Chien there. We just had an album released over the past couple of weeks. Well, here is in the studio with us.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could talk more about the album itself. How long did it take to make the album?
So it took me about 3 months to make that album, because I was working on it since the start of January when we got into the new year, and it took me up until about March time to do it, which I initially thought I was going to finish it in February because I'd written less songs than I usually did, but this one actually took me until March, and it was done just in good time.
And were you writing the music and the lyrics and everything?
Yes, so I was writing both the music and the lyrics. So the way it works for me is that I come up with the music first by using either a guitar or one of the basses, or even just sitting at my piano as well, and drum kit and a ukulele as well, by which I can come up with melodies and chords and all that, and then when I'm happy with it, then I'll write lyrics over it as well. So yeah. Yeah.
How many songs are there on the album?
There's 11 songs on All for Jazz Music. So it just helps so that it doesn't take me like weeks and weeks and weeks to record it all, you know.
Yeah, and all written by yourself.
And it's all completely written by myself. I've done all the post production using my Pro Tools software, and then I've shared it all out on my socials and on Bandcamp and YouTube and all that. So it's available to be heard through these platforms.
Yeah, and you're quite popular over there.
Yeah, pretty much around most of Scotland, I would say is where I'd be most popular.
Yeah, and well, we've got the next song, Could I Know Better, and maybe you want to talk about it?
Yes, so this was an interesting one. So the inspiration I had for Could I Know Better was I was thinking about how I sort of think about like for example instructions. If I was given instructions for certain things and that I need a bit longer to process things, and there's me thinking, will I be able to know this better if I'd understood that better? This is what it's all about. But it's got it's a reggae song, but I'm actually playing a bass ukulele on it, so this is going to be really interesting to hear that on there.
Okay, great. Well, let's listen to it. Could I Know Better by Simeon Chien. It was Could I Know Better by Simeon Chien there. And well, he's with us here in the studio for a couple of minutes more. And the last part is usually talking about the future and any plans. So, what do you think is going to be coming up over the next few months?
So I've got a few gigs ahead in Dundee in May. So they're both solo gigs. So the first one is I have a solo gig over at the Fort Hotel in Bloody Ferry for the big weekend event on the 24th of May at 10 p.m. as a headliner which is really exciting, and it's meant to be one of the busiest ones here. And then the next Sunday after that one, which is the 31st of May, at 6 p.m. I've got another solo gig over at the Newport Inn.
All right.
So that'll be exciting.
Yeah. So, and your plans even further ahead, what are you doing over the next few months?
So even further ahead, I'm about to start a new chapter with my music by doing a lot more doing a lot more gigs out in the Glasgow music scene. Also doing a lot more gigs. I'm hoping to get more gigs around most of Scotland as well, and like between Dundee and Perth and Edinburgh, Glasgow, and all that. And in the next year or so, I'll still continue, even carrying on. I'll still be continuing writing new albums every single year.
Yeah, but you're moving to Glasgow.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Over the next few months.
Yep. So that just means that that as I'm getting the future ahead, it's a way of which I'm a way to form a new band through there, and I'm also planning to get a lot more gigs through there in Glasgow as a solo musician as well. So and just kind of like networking with other people through there. So the scene will be really exciting through there. I look forward to taking my next step forward.
Yeah, great. Well, we got a last song from you, which is Space and Time. Maybe you could talk a bit about it.
Yes. So this inspiration came to me about space and think about time and all that. It's all to do with like with the recent spacecraft that went into space, but it's because when I was little, I just always had a thing about looking up about space, and I suppose because I've liked quite a lot of films and TV series by which have had space in there, but I've just been but as a kid I've been reading up on books about space and learning about the planets and all that, and about our planet Earth and the stars and all that, and it just kind of gives it a good theory of astrophysics, you know.
Yeah, great. So let's listen to it. It's Simeon Chien with Space and Time. Space and Time by Simeon Chien there, and well, we'll have a quick last word with Simon before he moves on. So anything you would like to mention, anything you want to say before you leave?
It's a great, I would say that my conclusion on All for Jazz Music for the new album is it's a great album to listen to. You can find it on Bandcamp. I also have a digital portfolio which I've also saved it up on like a kind of website kind of thing. You can also find it on YouTube, and if you want to give me a follow on my socials, you can go to Simeon Chien Music on Facebook, on Instagram as well, and I'm also around on Threads as well if you want to give me a follow through there. Or you can, or if you want, I could also send you a link through some of the platforms in a private message.
Yeah, great. Well, nice to be with you again, and nice to see you. And well, now you've got plenty of thoughts for the future and plans also to go to Glasgow and move on with your music also. Well, great to see you around there. Goodbye. I'll see you in, well, I'm sure anytime you come back to Dundee, you could always pop in here anyway.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
Let's move on some jazz from Horace Silver, and we've got a song from my father here.